Blessed be the Lord, my strength, who teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight. My goodness, my fortress, my high tower, and my deliverer. My shield, and he in whom I trust. Fucking get out!
Mate, what's Battlefield 1? You fucking idiot.
Get bayoneted, mate! We're late to the game for Battlefield 1.
Sit.
Battlefield
So, yeah,
1.
latest instalment by EA Dice. I am so excited for this, mate.
Yeah, you're taking
so
the lead on this one.
excited.
But we are going to co-op it a little bit.
I didn't authorise this, mate, but I'm going to allow it.
15 installments of Battlefield. There was so much hype surrounding this game.
I know, right?
The hypest
We should
game.
play this now.
It's one of the hypest games.
Yeah.
Let's go. You don't
Do
need
it.
to tell us what Battlefield is.
Select character.
Battlefield 1! This is going to be a big one for us.
It is, it
And
is.
it's weird because everyone already knows probably a lot of what Battlefield's all about. I'll say I sunk about 10, 11 hours into this. You were way more, like 30
Yeah.
hours. I think you maybe took the lead on this one.
Hooked on it, mate.
So, Dice, back again. 15th installment of Battlefield.
But covering all, like, aspects of war, if you like. World War One, World War Two.
Yeah, returning to it. And this, it's got to be said, the hype for this game was unbelievable when people saw the Zeppelins
Absolutely.
and the horseback riding and all that kind of stuff. And the best of the big question is, did it live up to the hype or what we were hoping for? I mean, we had fun, for sure. So we had a story, of course, always spectacular, over-the-top cinematic story. We split this in two, so I did a couple of sections because it's... How is it divided up, Andy?
You do the prologue, which basically sets the tone of the game. It tells you like all the aspects of World War One, what was happening in different countries, in different battalions, and it's like, it's a mandatory, you have to do the prologue.
I think something they were aiming for is, one, it's not uber realistic, let's be fair. It's not uber realistic. I mean, I essentially got a mech suit at one point. But what they are saying is that this was carnage from start to finish. And I think that's a good way for younger audiences to maybe appreciate just how quickly and how often people would just rip, you know, during World War One. It's hard to imagine it when you read about it. You read about, you know, thousands and thousands of people pouring out the trenches and just being mowed to fucking death.
But that's like what I was saying is when I read that, it was a bit, wow, that's gloomy. But then when you get into it, you really do get a feel of hopelessness.
Oh, absolutely.
Basically, being absolutely overrun.
Even the multiplayer paid off that well. But
Yeah.
all the stories they told through the war campaign, at least the ones that I did, were just so fucking great.
They were insane.
They were so fucking great. You were still a superhero, though.
Yeah.
You were still the one-man army
But like,
of undefeatable
every one of
crushers.
them was so different. But I mean, even though they were literally short stories or war stories, as they're called, and you can do them in any order, but each one of them was in a different part of the world, a different battalion or unit. But each one of them had its story as well. It was an individual story, and it was so Hollywood, not in a bad way, but like really well produced, nicely presented story.
I had the story of Gallipoli, was one of what I did, which is
All
a
right.
movie that I love. I actually watched it in high school.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson movie, mate.
Nice.
All about classic
Nice.
Mel when he's back in the day, about runners, because obviously we didn't have phones or good communications in World War One. So they literally had poor motherfuckers whose job it was to sprint through the war to deliver messages. Like, that was it. It was like, you need to go and tell this guy this. You're not to fight, really. You're to run like a bastard all the way through everything.
Like a
and just
bastard.
hope and pray that you're not going to fucking die.
Yeah.
And they had sprinters. In the movie, it was like, this guy was a famous track runner. So it was like, well, you're a sprinter, so this is your job, is to run through bullet
shit.
fire in hell.
That's like a death sentence for being an athlete, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. That's what it was, and they gave it off quite well. But I'll still maintain. I think they need to maintain, one, the easiness, and the campaign is easy. I mean, you are just the fucking hero. You can die.
Yeah,
you
obviously.
can die, but it's mainly a case of you're designed to beat it and just play out the story. But it all worked out kind of well. It was a lot of forced emotion. I thought they were really trying to make you cry, and I was like, I'm not gonna.
I'm not.
get
Do you
into
know
this.
what? I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I was so invested in the short amount of time. I think that's why I love them so much. Is in the short amount of time, Like for me, my favourite one was I can't remember the name of it. It's the British Tank Battalion, and you're the engineer, you're the driver, and then you meet your captain, you meet your unit and stuff, all different personalities. And obviously it starts to go south as you progress on. You find out you're the only tank left in your battalion, but you've still got to press on through like occupied France. But then obviously things start happening to your unit in like very dramatic ways. But it's so good the way that they do it and then it switches from gameplay to cinematic and back and forth. But I really, really enjoyed it, and like, obviously it's each to their own. But I was well invested in the characters.
I was almost invested if I wasn't Mega Man. And one of the campaigns I did, like I say, I essentially got a mech suit, which didn't exist in World War One. I mean, I walk up a hill in a mech suit.
It's the bullet suit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically a suit, but you
of
like
armor.
sprint up a hill and you kill hundreds of Germans. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, but the guy's going, and then I had to find out what happened to Genio. And it was cool, but it's a spectacle, as it always is. It's an absolute spectacle. Like I say, it's a Hollywood movie. And I think targeting the audience they're targeting is the best way of delivering it.
Absolutely.
Because if it was just super grim and horrible and you just died, if every mission was like the prologue, where, as you say, you die over and over and over and over again, that would have been rubbish.
Yeah.
But the fact is, they married a balance there between trying to give you the idea of just how devastating the war was to everybody, because you know there was families dying and all that kind of stuff, while simultaneously still making people feel like they were Superman, which I think is what they were after. And overall, I thought the campaign was really fucking cool.
Really good, yeah. Every time though with Battlefield, every time I think even the more I say frowned upon, but the not so much celebrated Battlefields like Hardline. The campaign in Hardline was still really good, even though the multiplayer sucked. But that's just the quality of the Battlefield campaigns, and they're so underrated because of how good the multiplayer is as well.
So the gameplay then. Let's talk about the gameplay. So, not unsurprising, it's Battlefield.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's Battlefield, and they have such a formulaic way of playing Battlefield. Do you think a lot of people were expecting something different?
No.
I
think
so.
To be honest, I think they absolutely nailed it again. It's the same, because what people take for granted is creating the same field through Battlefield multiplayers in different genres. And that sounds so easy to do because, oh, you just reskin the weapons. No, because you've got different buildings, you've got different destructible environments, you've got different weapons, and different like weapon behaviours and stuff like dips on sniper rifles and stuff like that. But I think they absolutely nailed it. At first, I knew straight off the bat, like, I can't remember the name of the map, I think it's actually Gallipoli. It's, you know, the mountain base that we went on. I thought, if I'm not sniping, I really, really, really have to get into the buildings. Because I know there's going to be a perimeter of snipers.
And I don't have the footage because it was when we were testing. It was this is why. The very first multiplayer game we booted into to check everything was working, the very first message that appeared in my chat was camper faggots. And I was like, welcome back to Battlefield.
Yep, that's it.
Welcome back to Battlefield. It's everything I remember. But they stick to the same line as always. You've got the COD for the arcade. You've got Armour for the pure simulation, like I say. And then Battlefield's like right in the middle. You're going to die quickly, but you can also... It's not run and gun.
No,
it's the same thing. It's the same thing you're going to get from any Battlefield game.
Yeah, I mean, like, as well as because it was only us two in, we weren't a huge pre-made in a lobby. I like the fact that some of the units, obviously, like in every other game that you pick up you get a pug, is some units will just be there for winning. Some of them will work as a unit, and you get that unit with your leader who will say, like, he will give orders. Like, you can request orders, but he'll give orders, and that unit sticks together.
Yep.
And that's so much fun. Like you've got your healer
just by making you deploy in your own unit.
Exactly.
Yeah, just making you deploy in your own unit. That made it so you all kind of stuck together. Although there wasn't much communication. I mean, we were obviously chatting together in the room, but there wasn't much communication with the pubbies that we were playing with, which was fine. I think it fits the theme really well because you do die very, very quickly in Battlefield.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where you can just log in, you can just spawn in, suddenly you're dead. That happens pretty regularly, and you're like, what the fuck? You know, you have more moments of what the fuck just killed me than maybe I particularly like. I've got to be honest, and a lot of people won't know this, especially long-time viewers of the channel. I actually really enjoy COD multiplayer. That's my style of multiplayer. I like COD multiplayer, and I like. I'm a huge fan of Doom style multiplayer. That's my main jam. But out of the sort of series, if it's a COD or Battlefield choice, which I think most people come down to eventually, I'm more of a COD guy. I quite enjoy a little bit of COD every now and again. I know, people are like, why That's it. Yeah, it's a fun shooter.
Kind of good,
It's a
man.
fun shooter.
just
It's just
like,
a fun shooter.
you know.
That's all I like. And you either like Battlefield style or you like COD style, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But I generally move over to there. I did think though, with the theme of World War One and fitting with the campaign, which is that you die really fucking quickly, that actually added to that World War One theme is that you just basically put through a meat grinder, constantly
Absolutely.
put through a meat grinder.
Absolutely.
The Levolution, not quite the same as we saw in Battlefield 4, which we both played a hell of a lot of. We didn't play any on stream, but we played a lot of Battlefield 4.
I've got to admit though, I noticed that a lot more when I started to use the vehicles just to test it.
Yeah, they had a lot of all the buildings were destructible.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point there was a guy hiding on the second floor of a building. He's like sniping out the window, but he kept being really sort of lame about it and just popping out every now and again.
Yeah.
So I blew the floor out of the building.
Exactly.
So I just blew the floor out of the building. I was like, well, if you're gonna do that, then fuck you. I'm not gonna do that at all. But I did feel like the World War One theme comes through in Battlefield really well. With you just constantly, I mean, sometimes you can just grab a turret as the enemy's moving across a bridge, and you can just rinse through them all.
But on the flip side, like for me, I think I've got quite a bit of footage of it. Is moving with your unit through whatever environment, but you're getting shelled.
Yep.
And the gravel and the rocks and things are flying up alongside you. The screen's rumbling. There's that bass in your ears, and it's so tense. But that's what I mean. They do it every time. It's perfectly done. Like
I'm glad
that.
you said that, because that for me is something that makes me prefer COD, because I find the cinematic effort they go to in Battlefield, sometimes you just can't see what's going on. And I know that's intentional.
Yeah.
That's intentional, because you've got the mud flying out the pits, you've got the shells and explosions, your screen's rumbling, especially when smoke comes down.
Yeah.
Mustard gas, it's really, you have to put your gas mask on, and you have to cover over your peripheral. For me, I don't like that, because I can't see what's going on, and that's often when you lead to being dead, because you literally, like, something's happened, which you couldn't possibly have predicted, and then suddenly you can't see anything. And that's when, for me, it's like, I don't know what, and then suddenly it'll cut to, like, who killed you? And it's somebody fucking miles away. It's like this, hiding in a bush or something like that.
But yeah, like, I mean, it didn't happen for me. I got killed by it, but there was a lot of awesome little tactics that I saw. I know that as soon as people were leveling assault, you unlock a shotgun. Now, shotgun comes with several perks. The fact that it is really, really fucking powerful. But then you'll get a team of people who will make a squad of shotgunners with all mustard gas, because when you've got your gas mask on, you can't use the iron sight on your weapons either.
Correct.
But obviously you don't need that with the scatter of a shotgun, so they would literally wait for, like, I think it was a train map in the forest where it was point B.
Oh, with butters, mate.
Point
I
butter.
was the king of butters.
Yeah.
I went in heavy machine gun.
They'd pepper that place with mustard gas and just leg it in and absolutely
I love
wipe
butters
people.
on that. Just saying on Revolution, so this time they've chosen more, well, the Zeppelins are the big one. What did you think of the Zeppelins?
Several different things. I hated to be beneath it
Yeah.
when it was shooting down upon me, but I like being in the cannon, fair enough, but one thing that I really liked is when I went to the Zeppelin as a scout, because when you leave the Zeppelin, you get out on top of the Zeppelin, and you can snipe from the top of the Zeppelin. That was crisp.
For me, the Zeppelins were, again, a mixed bag, the same as you. I didn't think they were, I thought they were visually amazing. Like, them come crashing down and all that was really cool. Other than that, though, they served less of a purpose than I'd like. I preferred the train in that level you said there, where the train moves backwards and forwards through the map.
Yeah,
and you've got
the
to
thing
destroy
with the
armoured
Zeppelin
train.
is it's easier to target than the train. The train's obviously a specific area, it's a specific line of sight, whereas the Zeppelin, it's very, very powerful. It needs to be dealt with quickly. And if you've got people who are playing the same sort of assault class that aren't going to deal with that, it's going to stay there and rinse your troops.
I guess I felt more it was done for spectacle over function.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
it was. Kind of like
instead
the
of skyscraper
Yeah, the
collapsing in
skyscraper
and the
in-
boat that came crashing in, which changed the whole dynamic of the map
Absolutely.
and the points and stuff. They instead of that, they went with, I think they decided to do more super weapons based on just, that will look so cool. Even if
and
you're not
player
involved.
interaction as well.
Yeah, I thought it was done for coolness, and it certainly was just, it's a visual marvel. There's no way getting away from that. And it ran fucking so well.
Absolutely.
Holy shit. I mean, we were always at 140 FPS.
We was like, you've got obviously top end, mine's slightly low, but we're both frapsing and literally had no frame drop whatsoever.
Wonderful. So they pulled also some stuff from Battlefront in this one, the Star Wars variation,
See,
which is the
this for
power-ups.
me was a pain in the ass, because I was obviously reading what other people thought of the game, and people hated the elite units. It's like, oh, it's a rip-off of Star Wars, there's no need for it in the battlefield, and I was like, come on, I'll tell you something, right? So what if they've got an elite unit? Yeah, it's the same thing as Star Wars, but in comparison, you've got about a third of the health as those heroes from Star Wars, and the fact that it looked good, even being on the receiving end of it, of a big, like, heavily armoured flamethrower unit, and you're in part of his unit who stood behind him, pressing forward. He's in front of it, basically tanking bullets. But it's still completely avoidable, completely manageable, and killable.
I never compared it. I mean, I only played very little Battlefront. I didn't enjoy it, but it was nothing on the lines of like when Darth turned
Yeah, just picks you up by your throat 300 fucking yards
It was
away.
nothing like that.
No.
I actually thought it was kind of cool, and it seemed to me, I didn't check this, and I should have. It seemed to me that you generally got them near you if that area of the map was getting particularly minced up.
Right. Okay.
So if your team was constantly in an area like you were doing capture the points or whatever.
Yeah.
And you were getting battered constantly, and this fight was always one-sided. Is that you seem to get more?
You get the
I
audio.
noticed that when we were on the losing side, is that we
Right.
kept because you get a message saying there's a flamethrower thing nearby.
Yes.
I noticed that a lot more, but when we were winning, barely saw
Hardly
it.
anything.
Barely saw it. So I
get
think it was just something to try and keep the battle even and give people a chance to come back. And again, I didn't think it was super overpowered like you didn't.
No.
Not at all. If I saw a flamethrower guy, they were pretty easy to take out if you were doing it right.
But that's the whole point of it. Is it's the same arseholes that complain about this. Put yourself in the position if you're on your own and then you're in a trench and you see a flamethrower guy, you fucking run. You don't try and combat that; it will kill you immediately.
I'm not going to face tank a flamethrower.
That's what I mean. If you're with your unit, you pepper that bitch with grenades,
Yeah.
and then with like constant gunfire,
this
it's going to go down.
Because the war campaign, the campaign story is a tutorial. It's just like the air mission, the tank mission, and
Yeah.
then it teaches you how to deal with these elite units, like
Absolutely.
use grenades on these guys. What else did they pull in then? So, what did you think of the horseback riding? Because this was something that we saw
Now-
in the trailer, and everyone lost their fucking minds.
I'd tell you what, the horseback riding for me, at first I thought, wow, that's really gimmicky. But then I totally got the utility of horseback, especially on in the desert levels.
Yeah, with the sandstorms and stuff.
Now, a horseback is fucking beautiful for sweeping the perimeter of snipers.
Yep.
Literally, like a brush with a saber, just smashing the heads off people as you're going past. It's obvious the player still takes the same amount of damage as the player. Obviously, the horse is like an armoured unit.
They take a lot of
They
damage.
do, but you can still one-shot the person on horseback. I did
Yeah.
that a few times as a sniper. But I liked it, man. I liked the gimmick that it was there.
I thought it was nice and different because they had motorbikes and stuff that you could
Yes,
do to
they
go
did,
across
with the little
that, but I'd much
side
prefer
carts.
to ride the fucking horse.
Absolutely.
Every single goddamn
Yeah.
time. What about the flying then?
Oh,
Same as always. I mean, you
No.
have a controller on standby for flying.
yeah, I always have the control pad on my knee for when we get in vehicles. But the flying in this was, obviously, it's a mixed bag of my gaming experience and my actual skill level with it. It's in things like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. Aircraft combat, I was always a lot better with. In this one, it just felt like as soon as I was over the battlefield, straight off the bat, every time I would be peppered by ground, by air, by anti-air, shells,
Yeah, I was
by
never in the air for very
anti-vehicle
long.
rounds.
And it wasn't because I crashed.
No.
Before anyone says so.
But apparently, there's been a patch where they've had to reduce. I mean, because I was always either picking a fighter or an air-to-air combat vehicle, fighter being like a mixed bag. But apparently, everyone picks a bomber unit because in a recent patch, the health had to be reduced a bit because of how much it could take. But apparently, it's still really, really strong. Whereas the fighters are just getting minced by these
Yeah, I was in the
bombers.
fighter every time because I prefer
Same
the pace.
as, you
But you were very
expect it.
restricted on your movement as well. Unless it was a really open map, I felt like I was turning around
Yeah.
a lot and coming back in. But overall, it was the same sort of thing you'd see in Battlefield.
Yeah, I
every
think
single
that's
time.
it was a very minor point. I'm going to try a bit more. But vehicle combat on the whole, like ground vehicles, like the tanks, the armoured personnel carriers, the bikes, the horses, absolutely loved it. Bombers being in the pilot or the gunner, loved it. I think it was just my bad experience was just from the fighters, but that's a very minor negative, I'd say.
So did you have any other negatives?
Just literally, I was thinking about it for so fucking long. The only negative that I can think of is the fact that there's going to be no third-party hosting servers.
So no customized rules, really,
Absolutely,
or mods.
there's going to be no customized rules. There's going to be no modded maps or anything like that. So that the glory of this used to be that the server host could create these fun little mini games in the actual map just to vary it up a little. It wouldn't be a constant mini game map. They'd just throw that in occasionally. You know, like there'd be some sort of criteria, like it'd be in a smaller, dense area of like, and they barbed wire it off, and you just have pistols. You know, just little games that would be very quick or even long. Or sometimes there's even roleplay servers where that sounds really weird in Battlefield, but roleplay servers, if you don't know that in Battlefield, is people fully. And these are the servers that I want to play on. People fully adhere to like a raw war type roleplay. You stick with your unit. You constantly get orders and are given orders. You've been given a role, and you have to keep that role like a job. You're like the medic, you're the repair guy. That for me is perfect. That happens a lot in Armour, and it used to happen a lot on, obviously, on the roleplay designated third-party servers for Battlefield. But that's taken all that away. But what's really concerning is now we have to put all our faith in their anti-cheating software.
Yeah.
You know, there can't be no third-party anti-cheat software, which fucking sucks. But I will say, in fairness, I've had no problems so far.
Not that I've noticed.
No.
Not that I've noticed at all. Nothing like that.
But there is like EA. I don't know if this is like, you know, a power play, like a money cash grab. But EA are doing renter servers for it.
Shocking.
It's not shocking when it's EA.
I am shocked and stunned, EA. I genuinely am shocked and stunned.
But I mean, really. they're turning every game into a cash cow now. I mean,
Dungeon Keeper, iOS, never forget.
Stop.
So what's our conclusion to Battlefield 1 then? It's if you're a fan of Battlefield, you should be a fan of this.
Yes. I absolutely fucking loved it. It's literally, I knew I was going to like it. Just very rarely now, even with the big AAA titles where I love the franchise, that I'll look at something and think, I hope they don't mess it up. I'm optimistic about this. I thought it's going to be mint. It's going to be so fucking good, and it was as well. It had the dynamic of a Battlefield. It had the perfect feel of a World War I combat simulator.
I guess the only reason you dislike it is if you're tired of the Battlefield series on a whole.
Yeah, if you obviously this is a very niche thing, where we brushed on it before. It's like, imagine it like a rainbow. You've got the full arcade style of Call of Duty on one side, complete simulation of armor on the other, and this is smack dab in the middle. You don't have to adhere to the full grind of a simulation like armor, but you've got to account for things like, and people, this is why people don't like it, and it's such a minor thing, like dip of a bullet on a sniper.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. But it's touching simulation, but it's not over simulated.
It's not over simulated.
I fucking love it. It's a perfect mix for me.
The campaign I thought was really cool. I mean, as I said, I will probably be more into COD. We haven't had a chance to play it yet because we've got BlizzCon this weekend. So I'm going to be looking at that at some point. I know we're behind the gate on that one, but that's okay. And that's more my kind of thing. I enjoyed this, though. I did enjoy playing it. It's not something I'll go back to a lot, but it's still something that I thought, this is a decent game. I actually enjoyed playing through the campaign. I thought it was really over the top, but simultaneously, I got that they were trying to send a message to the right audience for them.
Yeah.
They knew how to convey that message in a way that would work for them guys. So I thought that was pretty cool. People who'd enjoy it, then I'm going to guess...
I think
if you like Battlefield, you should enjoy it.
In terms of FPS, there's a market for everything. You've got simulation, you've got arcade, you've got jump in, jump out, and then you've got Battlefield. Battlefield for me is the perfect mix of everything. So people enjoy this. People who've played the other Battlefield games and want to carry on their Battlefield experience.
Absolutely, Battlefield.
Yeah.
So there you go, ladies and gents. Battlefield 1. It's only like 150 quid if you want to get the deluxe version of something.
But let's be honest though, mate, you cannot put a price on a textbook bayonet charge.
No, I kept missing mine, so... Battlefield 1!
Well good.
Not bad. Formulaic, everything we expected from a Battlefield.
Yeah. They had a nice campaign. It wasn't too long, but it was still really, really good. And the multiplayer felt like a Battlefield multiplayer. Obviously World War I, but amazing gameplay. Amazing.
Yeah. Not for me, but I prefer the COD style, which is unexpected. If you like that game, what are you shaking your head at? I'm not allowed to have a preference now?
No.
If you like that video, check out our previous video. It was on Beholder, which is about being a fascist dictator and bullying your tenants and spying on them. I found it really good.
It's you.
It is me. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.